the character itself is like this person that you're, you know, it's almost like kind of a romantic relationship, like you're dating this thing.
Murnau's film was released over 100 years ago. And while I feel like the horror genre is always changing, I feel like this topic is always, it matters, always matters, the vampire topic. Why do you think that is?
It's very flexible, you know, but at the heart of it, I mean, one thing that's consistent in almost all versions is you've got the undead coming to visit the living. So, I mean, that's always rich. Second, we're born. Once we have consciousness of how short life is, we're thinking about death and kind of wondering what's on the other side. So when the other side visits us, that's pretty juicy stuff for our imagination.
Yeah, absolutely. And both of you have played really heavy roles in your career. And I was wondering, because I feel like the public perception is that as an actor, you always have to really dig deep, maybe go even into dark places to prepare for a role. I would love for you to hear your thoughts on this topic and maybe how you prepare yourself to not get that deep that you don't find a way out, maybe.
I'll try to be quick. You know, it's funny. All roles are different, and I think every time, one of the things that people don't talk about enough is each time you do a project, you have to think about what the nature of, what kind of performance is needed, what the world is. Each time it's different. You have to adjust your approach. You have to adjust. It's unique each time. That's the beauty of the profession. So sometimes you have to admit that you don't need much. Sometimes, you know, a costume can be a trigger or a makeup can be a trigger. I classically talk about a David Lynch film where I had these prosthetic teeth, and once I put them in, I felt like this character. So sometimes you need very little. Sometimes you need a lot. In this case, preparation was mostly about I play a guy that's very studied in occult and various sciences. And Robert gave me a wealth of information, really interesting stuff to kind of orient me.
I actually talked to Emma and Aaron before, and they said they could never do this role. So I was wondering, did you ever had that thought, I could never do this role?
Yeah, all the time. Up until we started shooting, then I knew I didn't have a choice at that point. But then when the cameras were rolling, I felt that I knew I could do it, or I could do it. I could channel that it would come. But the dark things, like I think for, you know, it's an honor sitting here next to Willem and hearing his, because it's as interesting for me as I'm sure it is for you to hear his approach to acting, because he's one of our greats, absolutely one of our greats.
Leave.
You should leave. No, but it's. No, I feel that way, and you know, you're my senior, and my, you know, I look so hearing your approach to the craft is very interesting. And I'm sure you've been through all the different ups and downs in, you know, in the approach of it, but. It is an acting cliche where I think when you're younger, you tend to lose yourself more in it, or it becomes so important. It becomes every movie's life and death. And this certainly was for me. And that does take its toll. Like, you lose your mind because you're giving, it's like life and death. And I hope that as I'll age, that I'll be able to rely more on, you know, that it's not that important. It's like I work with. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I you know, when you're talking, that's true. But I feel like, for me, the camera activates the character, and to remain. Of course, if you're playing a monster for 12 hours a day, it's going to enter your sleep. You're going to be in that groove. But once the camera stops, and once you finish the daily process of inhabiting this thing, it should go away unless you hang on to it. Because really, the character is revealed through the actions, and the actions don't happen unless you're set up to record it. Yeah. So people that say, I mean, everybody's different, but people that say that they can't shake a role, just means that, listen, you got to let it go. You got to let it go to make room for the next thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a volitional thing to be tortured by a character.
Yeah.
I guess that's my point. So when they say wrap, it's always finished with the film. It's always bittersweet because something's finished, which is always a beautiful thing, but also something died, you know?
Yeah.
And it's always strange.
Yeah, and that's very true, and I feel that like the characters that you play, they because you enter a relationship with the character, you're stuck in a relationship with this character that you're playing,
and a community,
and of course, the community and all the people in the filmmaking process. But the character itself is like this person that it's almost like kind of a romantic relationship, like you're dating this thing because you're thinking about this other person that's coming through you for months, and once it's done, you never have to think about this person or thing or whatever it is ever again, and that's a tiny death.
Yeah.
And in some characters, I can kind of think back at them, and they feel like lost friends of mine, and they can come and I can think about them, and I'm like, I miss that person, I miss that thing, not with this one. I don't think I've ever been so like, thank God, I'm done with this. It really was like I did not want to linger with Orlok for any more time than I had to.
Es gibt einen Teufel auf der Welt und ich bin ihm begegnet.
Du könntest mich nie so befriedigen wie er.